Ladies and gentlemen.
In rebuttal, may I say something?
No, we didn't listen to the mayor.
Sir, I'm a citizen of the city of Enterprise, and I'm not going to be allowed to speak in rebuttal.
Listen to the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, I tried to write my comments that I've made every conscious effort, and I've searched high and low as to what I wanted to say or what I needed to say. I would ask everyone to take a deep breath and begin healing of this community. But I and this council have worked hard over the past years to try and get results and grow our city. It is because of our growth that sales and property tax collection increases, and then more money goes to our schools to improve programs. Money is also used by our city to pave roads, improve our infrastructure, upgrade existing facilities, and provide a better quality of life for our citizens. However, I do feel like it is important to respond to some claims regarding the agreement between the city and the school system regarding the past school construction. To suggest that the city has profited by the schools and the building agreement is absolutely false. There has not been one dime withheld by the city that belongs to the school. Not one penny, not one dime. Let me just take a moment and go over it point by point. Is there an agreement? Yes. All I can say is that both the Board of Education and the city agreed to implement 11 separate points. Both passed motions to do that, and both sides did so in reliance on the other. Here are the few points of what was passed. A, the City of Enterprise issues a $30 million general bond, obligation bond issue, plus the cost of issuance, to assist in funding the deficit and available funds to construct the facilities. Would like to add that the school could not fund what it wanted to do, so the city stepped up and helped out like we should have. B, the city passed a half-cent sales tax to partially fund the amortization of the bond issue. The city is to pass $2 million annually from this source, and I'll add, from this source. Then the agreement says at the end of the bond issue, the sales tax passed will stay in place to sustain the growth of Enterprise and be allocated 85% to the city, 15% to the schools. The sales tax would be issued, and then after the bond payment was complete, it would go to help the city schools, and again, this was 100% agreed to and was fully disclosed at all meetings and public meetings. C, the city allow a referendum to go before the citizens for vote to renew the property tax that allocated to the Enterprise Health Care Authority. This tax is set to expire in 2009. In the referendum, the property tax would be allocated to the city after 2009 to assist in funding the debt service of the bond issue. The city to pay approximately $550,000 annually from this source. Beginning in 2016, these funds are to be used by the city to enhance and maintain its infrastructure. The primary purpose for renewing and reallocating this tax is to avoid passing 0.75% or higher sales tax. Again, I do not know how much clearer this could be. The thought was, and it is, taking on a $30 million bond issue would restrict the city's effort to to pay for the city services. So, that was agreed to. D, the Enterprise School Board pay $550,000 annually to the City of Enterprise beginning in 2016 and for the remainder of the bond issue. It is the understanding of the committee that the school board has a bond issue payment of $1,200,000 annually that will fully amortize at that time, thereby creating available funds. The idea again was the school would be able to assist in its own construction in 2016, because that is when the bond issue for the Early Education Center would pay out. Even with the payment, the school would see a reduction of approximately $650,000 per year in what it had to pay. If in 2016 and thereafter the school would be somehow deprived of fully funding its education programs or teachers, then the city ought to take a second look. E, an additional fund received by the Enterprise City Board of Education from FEMA, insurance, federal, state, other governmental sources in the excess of accepted bond amounts necessary to construct the schools, not to exceed projected estimates, or to reduce the amount of the bond issue, or if subsequent to the issuance, to pay down the bond issue. Now, while the school has received these additional funds, to date, the city has not asked for anything from the Board of Education. As the agreement was being finalized, the board and other school officials, led by Gene Lolly, the board chairman at the time, agreed that we should all go forward as agreed. All of this was debated and examined again, including at several public hearings and meetings. Some citizens agreed, some citizens didn't. But ultimately, most everybody got on board for the good of the city and our school system. The process regarding the agreement was 100% transparent. Everyone knew what would happen. There were really two outcomes. Two. Either Enterprise would continue to grow and both the school and the city citizens would prosper, or would not grow and the city and the schools would be in trouble. Thankfully, the city has grown. But please understand, the city took a large risk to help. We did not know what was going to happen then. And we sure don't know what's going to happen between now and 2016, especially with sequestration, frack, and the soft economy that we're in. Sales tax collections, ad valorem taxes could have as easily gone down and still could, but I hope not. I hope they don't. And we will do everything we can do as an administration to keep this from happening. But remember, this was in 2008, and times were very uncertain. It was a big risk, but a risk the city thought was worth taking to help our schools. I'm a strong believer in helping when we can. In 2016, if the school system is in need, we should take a look at what relief should be given. If the city is in need and the school is in good shape, then we'd expect the same. And I think you would. I think the school would. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not yours and it's not mine. It's ours. Forgive me. We're the city of Enterprise. We don't harm each other. And I'm certainly not going to let others mislead our citizens about the truth. If the past history indicates anything, we'll move forward together. All of what I've said is on record. I've tried to be as plain and transparent as I know how to be. And if you have doubts, examine the records. Everything that I mentioned tonight related to funding for the schools, I would ask that it's been loaded on the website. It's on our website at www.cityofenterprise.net. Please, I urge each of you to go and look at it. Please read the text and study it. See that the city and the administration is an open book. We do not hide anything that we do here, but we urge you at least to look at the document on the website, and it will show you that our house is in order and that we're not hiding anything. Also, I'm aware that some do not presently agree with the Board of Education on all issues. We can disagree. That's what men and women all over the world fight for. And that's what makes our country great. We have the right to agree and disagree. But we need to do it in a civil manner and with respect. We have been asked about resignations of members of the school board. The school board is not an agency of the city, but a legal separate entity. We support the entire system. We have supported past school boards, and we support the current members of this board. But please understand, we only have the legal authority to make appointments to the board. The law prohibits city government from commenting or interfering with business of the school board. We can only support the system in moving forward. The law is just not set up any other way. What we can do is keep working as hard as we can to help this city. The only interest I have, and this administration has, is to keep moving forward. We intend to do that. We will not let this recent series of events move us from that journey. It is a time to heal, and healing, I hope we do. So I'm inviting everyone today to join together, stop the voices of sin, do everything we can to see that we continue to seek and enjoy the enjoyment Enterprise has to offer. The school system plays a very important part in our city, and we have to do everything to see that every part of our city prospers. Ladies and gentlemen, I just asked you, please come together. I don't ask you, I beg you. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Mr. President.
We've been dictated on this agenda.
Mr. President.